Hey guys, welcome back. I'm Melissa. If you're just joining me here, welcome. And I'm really excited for today's video because I am bringing you the last and final series video on my Scindapsus. This is going to be our little propagation experiment update, and I'm going to show you and share with you the results of everything that I found. And I'm also going to be taking all of my Scindapsus and repotting them, adding the props in. So it's going to be a long video. Be prepared for that. I will make chapters, so if you don't care about certain parts, you can skip around. I would love it if you watch the video all the way through, but yes, I will leave chapters down below. I'm going to first rewind back in time and show you the progress updates on the props. I did one update, I think a couple weeks out, and then I filmed another update maybe 3 to 4 weeks later, something like that. And I have not, done anything with them except water them. That is it. And I have them all right here. Hey guys, we are going to do a Scindapsus update. I have not done one yet. I'm actually going to check on them and water anything that needs watered and see what it's looking like. I did water everyone last week sometime, and today is Tuesday. So it's probably been a good 6 days or so since I checked on them. So I'm gonna give you guys a little update on them, see what's growing, see what's not growing, see if anything died, and we'll water anyone that's thirsty. All right, so we are gonna check the perlite first. So look, we have roots in perlite. Nice, nice. This is Exotica and a platinum. Looks like the Exotica maybe have rooted. And the water level is getting a little low. It's like right here, so I'm gonna top that off here once we're done. So that one's doing well. I don't know if I see any roots on this one, but we will top that one off as well. Oh, we have something that died in this one. Let's see. Oh, we have a little bit of root over there. That is the Moonlight. And then something died. It looks like maybe one of the Argyraeus ones. So we will pull that out and get rid of that. So that one looks like it probably just rotted. And you can see too by the leaf curl, you see how they're like curled, how they're like not maybe fully hydrated. I don't know if you can tell. So next is moss. That one is very curly. And just plain moss, let's see. I don't think I see any roots on this one yet. Oh, look at that. We have lots of roots in here. The moss is doing really well too. Look at that. So this is the Argyraeus and the platinum. Again, I don't know which roots belong to which one, but we have roots in that one. And we have the Silver Lady and Moonlight. Let's see. I don't see any roots here for that one. So far we have 2 that have roots in perlite and 1 that is rooting in moss. Moving on, we'll do Fluval next. So I pulled the rotted one out of the perlite. So Fluval, I can already tell like the leaves look more plump. They're not as curled like some of these other ones. And the first one in perlite, I see a tiny bit of roots right there. You can make that out. This is the Exotica in a Silver Lady. So I don't know which one that belongs to. And this one seems pretty hydrated after a week too, the Fluval. It's not like super dried out. Oh, we got lots of roots here. The Argyraeus and Moonlight. Look at that. And we have another one. Okay, so we have Fluval, we have roots in there. So all 3 are rooting in Fluval. So I would say so far Fluval is rooting everything. Fluval and perlite are doing better right now. And I would say Fluval is winning just because the leaves look a lot better. They look more plump, hydrated. They don't look as stressed as some of these, other ones. Let's do the combo. I don't know if I see any roots in that one yet. Again, the leaf looks a little curled there too. We have a little bit of root here. And it looks like maybe the new growth is dying on that one. We have one more. All right, we have roots here, and we have another one rooting up here. So I would say, so all three of these are rooting, which is good. But again, if we're going at the way the plant looks, the cuttings, I would say Fluval is looking the best. Perlite, I would say, has the most roots, Perlite and Fluval, because the roots are pretty long on some of those. And then let's check our water props. I probably should have topped these off sooner. So you can see a root forming there in water. I just have to fill that. So there's one that's rooting. Oh, we got roots in water too. Look at that. Do you see? So we got one cutting coming out that's not reaching the water. That's probably my fault. I should have topped that off sooner. I'll fix that. So that is rooting. And look, we have more roots. So water is doing well too. I love how the one in Fluval is looking as far as the plant being hydrated, and all three again are rooting in the Fluval. So that is kind of the update for these. I'm gonna finish topping everyone off and we'll put everyone back on the shelf and we'll see what the roots look like next week. It is update time. I wanted to do one more update because I feel like the next time I do this video, these guys will be ready to be potted up. Probably in another couple of weeks. I feel like a good portion of these will be ready to pot up, and then I can repot all of my Scindapsus. There are some cuttings that aren't doing well. So when I updated a while ago, today is like the 6th or 7th of April. So it's been a while since I updated you guys. I've watered these, I think, 2 more times since then, just because it's getting really warm in my plant room. And I just have to make sure that the moss and stuff doesn't dry out. But I'm going to show you guys the props and we'll kind of determine again like who we think the winner is. I know who the winner is just based off of the cuttings themselves and how they're you know, doing and transitioning. This was such a fun project to do, so it was kind of cool to see, you know, how each one's did and how they're liking the substrate. I want to show you guys the roots on the water. Water, for the most part, has rooted very well. You can see a lot of the, if you ever notice these crystal-like formations on the roots, that is just new roots that are about to form, a little crystal-like balls. So I feel like the water roots are getting ready to start forming secondary root hairs. I feel like most of them have done well. I can't tell if all of them have rooted. There are some cuttings that just have a tiny like inch of root growth. And over here, I think this one, I have some cuttings that hasn't really rooted at all. It's hard to tell, but it looks like this one only has, I think, maybe 2 of the 3 that have rooted. So I feel like for the most part, water has done well with rooting, no secondary roots. I feel like water will definitely have a harder time transitioning back to soil. So that's the only thing that you have to be mindful of with water, is if you go that route, the cuttings, when you go to pot them back up, might dry out and they're gonna have a little bit more of a difficult time. They may die more easily. So definitely keep that in mind if you just want to do water. As far as the perlite goes, I do have roots in perlite. So out of the 3 things of perlite, I have one that I don't see any roots. So these cuttings look very sad. They look kind of wilted. You can see them curling. They look dehydrated. I don't see any roots on the outside at all. So this one is not doing well. These 2 here, I have roots forming. You can see there's some roots in there. I can't tell if there's too many secondary roots that have formed yet. I don't think so. But again, there's not like a ton of roots in the perlite. And these cuttings still look a bit curled. They don't look as happy in the perlite. So next up is we have straight moss, which are these 3 here. So straight moss has done well, and I've always been a big fan of sphagnum moss. And you can actually see some of the secondary roots that have formed in the moss. The cuttings for the most part look pretty happy. Again, I have lots of roots curling on the bottom of that cup there, and there's some secondary root hairs on that one forming. And overall, I have a new leaf. It looks like maybe that one's a new leaf, I think, possibly. But the cuttings don't look too bad. And again, lots of roots curling on the bottom of that one. So I love moss. Moss has done great. The only thing with moss, the only negative is that when you go to pluck the moss off the roots, they tend to stick more and it can stress the roots out. And if you have secondary root hairs that have formed, those are the ones that work for the plant, then you could potentially pull a lot of those off and stress the cuttings out. So I love moss, don't get me wrong. And when you use moss to pot into soil, they transition a lot better, in my experience. So next we have the mixture. So we did the perlite, the fluval, and the sphagnum moss. And I feel like, honestly, I feel like this one would have done a lot better than what they have. Since moss did better than the mixture, I would rather just use straight sphagnum moss than the combo of the three. I really thought this one was going to do the best. I really did. I mean, I have a lot of roots in here, and the cuttings do, for the most part, look great. I do have some curling. And this one has a new leaf up top. Not the best roots though. I mean, I don't really see a lot of secondary roots that have formed. I mean, I do have a good amount of roots. So I would definitely just use straight moss over the combo. And I'm saving the best for last, the Fluval, the clear winner, because it's just outstanding, you guys. Fluval is hands down the best rooting substrate. So I'm going to show you, look at all of the roots and the secondary root hairs that have formed. The cuttings look so plump and healthy. I just can't describe to you how nice they look. Here's another one. Look at how happy those Scindapsus exotica cuttings are. There's no leaf curling. Again, I have a ton of roots in here, lots of secondary roots. Some roots that are curling around this way. They look so happy, and I do have 2 new growth points that are forming already. Do you see there and there, the new growth points? And I do have, oh no, I can't tell if there's any growth points on these ones yet. But to get a new growth point already on a cutting is really fast for a Scindapsus. I'm definitely surprised by that, especially the mid cuts. And here's the last one in Fluval. Again, I feel like the root system is great. I have secondary roots on all of these. This one has a new leaf up top here. And another, I think this is another new leaf here, this one. But again, like the cuttings look very happy. They're not curled, they're not wilted. They have just done the best. Fluval, hands down, is my favorite. So yes, that is my little update on these, and I will be potting these up very soon. And we are back for the third update. I'm going to take all these out. Like I said, I have not looked at these yet since I last did that second update. So we did our 5 propagation substrates. We did water, perlite, moss, stratum, and then a combo. So since you already watched the first 2 updates, you probably know my favorite, which I'm going to share with you first. It is the stratum. And I have 3 stratum cups, and you guys, these cuttings are growing. They are so happy and healthy. I have a ton of roots. Look at this. I'm going to show you this one first. Look at all the roots on that. Isn't that insane? Ugh. And the cuttings are really happy and healthy. I have new growth coming in. Same with this one. I have new growth coming in, lots of roots. And again, this one, lots of roots, very happy, healthy cuttings. The stratum by far, hands down, is the winner out of all of them. I did not lose any cuttings. I have lots of new growth. The cuttings themselves look the absolute happiest. So my second favorite has to be the combo, and this was my prediction that I thought was going to do the best. It isn't just moss, it does have some nutrients with the stratum. I think the only thing I would have done differently, I think, was to add more stratum and probably a little bit less moss. That way it would have had a little less like moss to stick to the roots. But this is a new leaf that this one put out right up top. I have lots of roots in the combo one. This one, I have a new leaf here, I have a new leaf here, and a new leaf here. So this one has lots of new growth, and again, lots of roots in here. I may have actually lost 2 cuttings from this. I don't remember. It could have been my fault. I could have let it get a little too dry one time. But again, lots of roots in there. And then I have some new growth. I don't know, moss is pretty good too, you guys. Like, look at that. Look at all the roots in there. Do you see that? That is an insane amount of roots. So I do have a sad cutting here. It doesn't look the happiest. And you can tell the leaves are a little bit limp. They don't look as hydrated to me. Here's another like limp leaf. It doesn't look as hydrated, but moss definitely grew a ton of roots. And for the most part, they're happy. Like that's a new leaf that popped out of there. And it looks very happy, healthy. So maybe it's a tie between the combo and the moss. So you don't have to do a combo. I feel like moss works just as well. Okay, next we have water and perlite. So I have water here, and then I have all the perlite cups here. Now I do love perlite, and I do love propping in water sometimes. I don't really prop in perlite just because, one, it's messy and it dries out quickly for me. Water did great too. Like I have a lot of water roots, and you can see there's a lot of crystals forming on the roots, which means a lot of secondary roots are about to start coming in. It's hard to pick a favorite between water and perlite, because with the water I had some wonky new growth that came in that weren't the happiest. And again, some of the leaves look curled. They don't look as healthy. The water level kind of emptied quicker, which caused some of the cuttings to dry a little bit, it's harder for me to keep water props watered sometimes because I tend to sit and forget, and I'm really lazy about rinsing them. And the worst looking props for some reason is this one in perlite. I think all 3 look horrible. I have 1 or 2 that looks like it maybe didn't even root and it's dying. And this one over here looks crusty as well. So this whole thing is probably going to be a no-go. So I probably won't be able to use anything. And I barely have any roots in that one. So it's weird that this container of perlite did so bad. It could have been the individual cuttings because all cuttings are different. So it could have been something with those. I'm not really sure. But these 2 cups of perlite are happy. So I do have some perlite roots. Not as much as the moss and the fluval, but I definitely have perlite roots starting. And I do have some new growth wanting to form here and up top here on this one. I'm gonna rate perlite over water just because these ones are going to have a little bit of an easier time going to soil than if it was straight water. Even though I had one that was horrible, it could have just been maybe the way the cuttings were situated in there, maybe they weren't getting hydrated, maybe just the cuttings themselves. And then I did a ton of wet sticks, which the tags kind of fell over. I do have a couple leaves sprouting in the wet stick jar. I have one here. I have one here starting to form. I have a couple more here starting to form. I have some clover and grass growing from the sphagnum moss. See, I knew this was going to take a while. Scindapsus just tend to take a really long time to grow coming from wet sticks. And this did dry out fairly quickly, which I had watered this probably 4 times. And I just watered it before we started filming because it was dry. Oops. I did my best to keep up with it, but yeah, they probably would have done a little bit better in here if I had just paid a little bit more attention to them. But I will be having these in here for probably at least another 2 or 3 months easily before I do anything with those. But I just wanted to show you the update on that at least. So I had added little sticky, these are like little sticky note things, and I put Fluval on these two. So that way when I put them into soil, I'll know which ones end up like making it versus which ones don't make it. But I'm gonna repot this Scindapsus first. And the way that I did this is I put, this is the platinum, I put a platinum in each substrate, and I did lose some leaves, so I don't know if I have a platinum now on each substrate, so we'll see when I go to repot this one. But I'm gonna just upsize to a 5-inch so that we can, I don't really wanna disturb this because I potted this in here last summer. This is just in my normal chunky mix here. And I'm just gonna undo this, plop it in here, and add the cuttings kind of around is how I'm gonna try and do all these. All right, so we're gonna dump this out. So I don't wanna pull because then you're gonna risk hurting the roots. Squeeze and dump. And I don't want these cuttings to dry up before I go to repot the other plants. So I'm just gonna put that one back in its home so it doesn't dry up. And that's what I love about Fluval Stratum. Do you see? Like, look at all those stratum roots. Ugh. This is going to take to the soil so well. Now this one doesn't have any, this one has a platinum, a nice healthy leaf. I am in over my head on this project. I will definitely like skip parts throughout this video so you guys don't have to watch me undo all of these, because it's literally going to be the same process for each plant. And we'll see how long this video, like how long that I'm filming for. If I run out of space on my memory card, then I'll just like repot the rest off camera, because this is going to take me a while to get all these cuttings out and pot up all the plants. Because yeah, it's going to be the same process over and over again, so we'll see. I'm just kind of gently plucking the moss away. Ooh, look at that moss root. And that moss had a healthy new leaf there. So we're gonna leave that kind of covered so that it doesn't dry out until I can pot the rest of them up. And with moss, you know, you don't have to get every piece off, but just do what you can. It's okay to leave some. So I'm gonna write moss on this one. Okay. Do I have any in the combo? Yes, we have another platinum in the combo that has a new leaf. So combo I'm going to dump out in here too. The combo definitely has the least amount of roots, or at least this cup did, but still a decent amount to add in there. We're going to label that combo. This looks like our platinum over here. Okay, I'm gonna dump the perlite out in this container. Still, like, that has nice healthy root and perlite. Okay, that looks like a platinum in water, has a nice little water root there. All right, that is all the platinum that we have. So we have one from each substrate. Look at that. Look at all those roots, you guys. I hope you can see that okay. We need our soil bin now, which is down here. It wasn't even that rooted in here. I am going to reuse this since I know this soil isn't old and I don't want to disturb this root system. This one was imported last summer. Let's see, we're going to take our 5-inch. Geez, the root system on all the new cuttings is better than the original plant. That's so funny. So we have our main plant in here. And then we're gonna add all of our cuttings around the pot to fill this plant out. The thing with cuttings is you wanna make sure you get them far enough down so that when you're watering, they don't dry out. Because if you just have a tiny root and it's at the surface level, when you go to plant it, transferring it into soil, it can dry out very quickly, which can cause the root to dry up and it not make it. I feel like sometimes that's a problem with a lot of transitioning, is the cuttings dry up. So definitely make sure you get the root system far enough down. And I'm not putting them in here in any particular order. I'm just kind of putting them around the pot. And this is one of the ways that I love filling out my plants and making them bushy, is by adding cuttings back in. My plant literally went from one vine to now like multiple vines. Do you see? Look at that. Lots of growth points. And the main plant, actually where I had cut, it actually was starting to grow a little new growth there. It just hadn't pushed out yet. Look at that. It looks so much better. All right, now I'm gonna fill up around. That's our fluval. Nose itches. I'm gonna use the rest of this. And I'm not gonna forget to use fertilizer today. I always forget to use fertilizer. And this is my normal chunky mix. I'm gonna order more soil soon, so whenever I get them, I'm gonna show you guys how I make a new batch. You just wanna get all the roots covered. And I don't always repot plants when I'm adding cuttings in. I tend to use like a little succulent. There's a name for that kit. There's a name for that tool. It's from a succulent toolkit, that little poker tool. I use that all the time. I like dig a little hole in the soil and then add my cutting in. But since I have to repot all these and I need to add fertilizer, I'm just doing it together. What's nice is I'm gonna know like all these plants, all my Scindapsus have been repotted and they've been fertilized and I'm happy with the substrate. It's gonna make me feel so much better about them. I definitely recommend these plants, Scindapsus. I feel like they've never really been a pest issue. I don't think I've ever had any pest on my Scindapsus. It's just like epipremnum plants. And I feel like they don't grow at a super fast rate. Some of them grow faster than others. So I can't say that about all of them. And they're so pretty. There's so many beautiful Scindapsus varieties. They've never really been like, I would say, a favorite plant of mine, but I definitely love them. Just because I'm a fan of like, you know, bigger leaves. And then I just like make sure to shake to settle all the air pockets, and I kind of push around the soil edge just to fill in any gaps, because sometimes when you use a chunky mix it leaves little gaps, and so you just want to make sure to fill all those in. Oh, you know what? I bought I want this to trail, but I bought this cute set of trellises I was going to use for a couple more Hoyas that I need to repot, but I actually might add one into here because I think it would look cute. These here is a 3-pack. They're different designs. I got these on Amazon. Until it grows a bit more, what I'll do is just kind of add these around the front here. Oh, I think it's cute for now. Look at that. It's so stinking adorable. I am obsessed. I just have to water this in. I just have my rainwater here beside me. It's just pure rainwater. And then I actually have my dunk and my watering can soaking. And then since I did repot these, I actually am just gonna add a tiny bit of Superthrive to add in here. Pop. Let's see, just gonna water this in. Oh. And then I'll let this trail probably once it outgrows this trellis. Yay! All right, one down, a lot more to go. So next up is the Silver Lady. So this was the main plant that I cut back. It actually is growing a new leaf here since I chopped it. And I don't remember the last time it's been repotted. It doesn't look like my mix. Or maybe it is. I'm not sure. I don't remember. And so we need all the Silver Lady cuttings. So let's see if we have any in here. Any in the perlite we dumped out. Those are all Exotica. All right, here's the Fluval one, and here with this one. All right, that one has one Fluval root. The rest of this is the Exotica. Look at that. So this one's the combo. It looks like we have one root. I feel like the root on the Silver Lady isn't as prominent. This one, we actually have two Justin Moss. This one's a little wrinkled, so I don't know if that one even rooted. We will see. No, see, that one didn't root either. So we have one that did not root at all. This one's gonna do well because I have a lot of secondary root hairs off of that one. Whoa, I have one long water root on that one. And do I have any in perlite? I think we're missing perlite. Yes, we do. We have one in perlite that didn't root. So actually we have two of the Silver Ladies that didn't root at all. Okie doke. I need a bigger table. So we are going to take our main plant. Let's see what we're working with. Oh wow, look at those roots. Look at how root bound this plant is. Do you see that? Yeah, it has definitely been in this mix for a while. It looks like it's just my normal chunky mix. I think I had added a little bit of stuff on top to probably fill in the soil because over time it kind of washes away a bit. I'm just loosening this a little bit just because I feel like this plant has been in the soil for a while. She was thirsty too. This plant. I probably should have watered her first, but it's okay. So we're just going to freshen up her mix. Plop her right down in the center. And then for our individual cuttings, we will get these far down as we can. Sometimes I just like lay them in here and then I will fix their leaves and make sure that they're under the soil and everything. But I just want to get the root down to the bottom of the pot. I don't really care too much about placement because if a leaf is turned a weird way, because then, you know, as the plant grows, it'll kind of face whichever direction the light is coming from, so it kind of evens itself out. All right, we're gonna fill up a little bit. And a lot of these that were mid-cuts, I don't expect them to push a new leaf for a while. There'll just be one leaf in here. And keep in mind, the original leaf doesn't always stay with the plant. It'll usually yellow and go when a new growth point happens a lot of the time. So if you do have yellowing of this leaf, don't think that the cutting died, because the node is still maybe viable, and whenever that new growth point decides to pop out, it'll pop out. So I wanted to make sure that you guys are aware that that happens a lot sometimes with propagating. It's like the plant uses all the energy from that leaf, and then once the new leaf is there, it just like reroutes energy on like growing, and that bottom leaf usually is the one that goes. But sometimes they hang with the plant for a while. It just, honestly, it just depends. It's hard to say for sure. All right, very, very cute. So there is that one. A lot of the cuttings are just down in the center. The leaves are just out of the surface on top, but all the roots and everything is buried down in there. I forgot one. Oh no, okay. Woo, those are the ones that weren't rooted. I'm like, no. I did forget one, shoot. Oh no, I didn't. This is another one that was in water. So we had three of the silver ladies that didn't root. Interesting. These ones must be a more difficult Scindapsus to root. Who should we do next? The next plant that we're doing is the Jade Satin. And this is the main plant here. She's in a 5-inch. She's beautiful. I have lots of roots coming out of the bottom here. I grabbed a 6-inch, but I'm wondering if I need to go up to an 8-inch for her. We'll see. If she's extremely root bound, I'll go up to an 8-inch, because I feel like that's not going to be very much room, especially adding these cuttings in with their own root system. So I was trying to do this off camera to save time, but I have a fluval cutting with amazing roots. We have, this one was water here. And then this one was the combo. This one was just moss. And then the one in perlite has rotted. The root, it didn't grow. So that one is no good. That is rotting. So we'll be able to save this part and do a wet stick. And this other one in this perlite has rotted too. So we have two that have rotted in perlite. And this other cup, this one was not rooting, this Exotica. So 3 different cuttings didn't like this thing of perlite, which is very weird. So we don't have any perlite for this one, unfortunately, and I think I got all of them. All right, let's see how root bound she is, because I have a feeling she is root bound. It's a beautiful Scindapsus. I love this one. She feels root bound. Again, I haven't repotted this one. I don't think I repotted this one last year. No, I think it was the year before. Oh yeah, she root bound. Look at that. Do you see that healthy root system? So she is very rooted, like a lot of roots in here. I don't want to disrupt her. Yeah, I'm gonna go get an 8-inch. We're gonna do 3-inch upsize for her.
She's gonna need it. I get these 8-inch off Amazon, the green nursery pots, a set of 13 for like $28. It's a really good deal for this size. Yeah, I don't want to stress her and like loosen that. There's not really a need to, and the roots will find their way. So we're just going to plop and backfill. Okay, and so for our cuttings, we're just going to add around the pot. We'll do kind of one on each side. And they're labeled, so we'll know. The main thing, like I said, is just getting the root far enough down. And don't worry if the cutting sinks down. You can reposition it once you get soil in the pot, and you can move it around and stuff a bit more. All right, and all we're gonna do is backfill. Simple as that. She's gonna take a lot of soil. I'm really hoping I have enough soil to get through the rest of them. I don't want to have to make more up. That was like my biggest worry, because I have 3 more to do. 3 more plants to do, and they're like my bigger ones. If you guys hear my stomach, just ignore that. I'm filming a little bit later today because I had to go get groceries. And then when we got home, as soon as I got home, the power went out. And so then I'm like, oh no, I don't think I can film today because it's really windy outside, and like all my grow lights went out in here, so I couldn't plug in like my ring light or anything. So then I was like, I really wanted to film this video today. And then like after, I think 45 minutes, it came back on. So I was like getting a little bit of a later start than I wanted to, but that's okay. All right, she's pretty full in here. I'm just trying to squeeze in any, it's mostly around the edge, any extra air gaps. And it's okay if you bury the new growth point under the soil, because it's going to grow out of the soil. So the stem and root and everything is getting buried into the soil. So the only thing that's sticking out is the actual leaf and part of the stem. So my cuttings get buried pretty deep. So don't worry about if there's a new growth point and you don't want to cover it, just cover it. I promise you it'll grow out of the soil. All right, I think that's pretty full. Wow. She is in a big pot, you guys. So for example, let's see. All of my cuttings are buried. Like the stem and everything is down. Just the leaf is sticking out and part of the stem. Everything is like buried down in there really good. And I know I have some cuttings that were in water, but now I don't remember which ones are which because some of the stickers are buried. But I'm not going to worry about keeping the soil moist. Just for the water cutting, I'm just going to plant it in here and hope it makes it. I feel like the water ones had a decent amount of roots, so I feel like they'll be fine. But you never know, we will see. And again, like I was saying, just because a leaf dies doesn't mean the cutting died, because the leaf may have just been its time to go, and the cutting will still survive under the soil with the root system or the node part, and then a new leaf will eventually sprout. All right. She is beautiful, you guys. I love her. Look at that beauty. She is gorgeous. The next one is our Moonlight. So I took all of our cuttings out that were in all of our vessels. I have to label them yet. I did want to point out one thing with the perlite though. So I have 2 in water, and the one in water, one of them, I don't like how straggly this is. I'm going to cut here, and that'll be like a top cut to root. So I'm only going to keep that mid cut in water. And this one was also water. Now the one thing in perlite I wanted to point out is I cut the stem on one side off because it was rotted. I had 2 in perlite. And this other one, I don't know if you can see, there's like dark. The stem is rotting on each side. And so I did have several cuttings rot that were in the perlite. So I'm not liking the perlite just because of the rot. I'm just cutting off the rotted stem. And so we have 2 for perlite. We had 1 in Fluval, 1 in the combo, 2 in the combo, I think. No. Yes, 2 in the combo and then 1 just in moss. We had a lot of those. So this is our main plant here. Our main Scindapsus Treubii Moonlight. I have 1 yellow leaf up top, which I'm going to cut. It looks like it's just one of the original leaves that have gone. And then I also had propped some and transferred to soil a while ago in this little container here. So I have these to add, all of our cuttings to add, and the main pot is in a 6-inch. So I'm going to go up to an 8-inch and literally add all the cuttings into here, and it's going to be a huge full pot. A lot of these are growing back from where I chopped them, like I had cut here, and this is new growth from like 2 months ago when I first took all these cuttings. Okay. Soil. Don't know what she looks like in here, her root system. I'm trying to remember when I repotted her last. Don't know if I remember when I repotted her. Okay, she's not overly root bound. Removing some of the old soil. I feel like I want to go ahead and go up to an 8-inch. Yeah. Just because I have so many cuttings to do. Add in here. Okay. Yeah, we are going to add these all around in here. No particular order. I'm just going to try and get them down far in there. And with cuttings too, like, you have to expect some to not make it. It just happens with propagating. That's why I always try to do more. If I really want to fill my pots out, I just try to add more cuttings than, you know, the better chance that you have of them making it if there's more in there. And like I said, don't worry about burying the cuttings. Try to leave the leaf stick out so that it doesn't rot or anything, but I just fill it up. Got everyone filled into the top. All right, we just have to water her in and then she will be done. Again, she will be big and full. Lots of new vines growing. Very beautiful Scindapsus. Look at her. She's gorgeous. All right, I'm gonna take a quick intermission break and then I will be back later to finish the next two, which will be in just a second for you guys. We're back. It wasn't a long break. My husband's doing some yard work, so I'm just gonna finish up and then we'll eat dinner. I don't know what kind of pot this is. Maybe, I don't know if this is an 8-inch or not. I feel like I want to put it in one of my green pots. I have so many cuttings of this one, you guys. Like, it's insane how many cuttings I took off of this one. I just don't know. What all to add. I really don't want 2 pots of Exotica. I could always get rid of one. Or just like propagate in the future and take a bunch of cuttings to cut my plant back. Pulling off some crispy bits. Oh, she's so big. I love her though because she's so big, and I added cuttings in here. There's a couple that are growing from before. I don't know what happened here. She's growing this long vine here, and then she's got another one here growing. This one's pretty long. You know what, I might cut this one, and then I probably don't know what I'll do with these cuttings. I'm cutting it. It's just too long. And then she's got this runner here with empty nodes. I hate when that happens. I'm gonna cut that one too. The rest of them are pretty even growth, I would say. Because that way by the time I like the growth on that one. That's not too far spaced out, so I'll leave that one. Okay, I'm gonna get all the cuttings that I have of the Exotica because we have a lot. Okay, we have all the cuttings and I forgot to make more soil, so we're gonna try and make it work. I'm not gonna get rid of any soil that are in these 2 remaining plants. So this one I'm gonna undo. Oh no. No! Shoot, this one is souls. This was the only one that I had in souls. Oh, yuck. It looked questionable. Great, now I mixed it in here a little bit. We are getting rid of the soil, and I already see some rot. Thank goodness I underwatered my Scindapsus. There's not a lot of rot because the center is my mix, but there was some rot that was touching the soles. I don't know what is up with that. Thank goodness the center was my mix. I was about to go off. It's just so ironic that all the plants that have touched that mix have rot. Like how, I don't know. I'm sorry I keep like bringing it up because I feel like until I can get my plants repotted out of that mix, if I like find rot, it just like, I don't know. I don't mean to like, I don't want to keep talking about it either. I'm gonna use some of this old at the bottom. So we're gonna do her on one end. Whew. And what I think I'm gonna do is group all these cuttings together. This is all the propagated cuttings. We have water, moss, fluval, perlite, you name it. I'm gonna stick these down, I think all on one end, as far as I can get them. My battery died, whoops. Okay, so I have all the cuttings on one end. And then I'm gonna try and squeeze her in here too. We're gonna try. We're gonna reuse this soil. I feel like this pot isn't big enough, but I don't have a 10-inch. I have a 10-inch clear pot, but I don't really want this plant in a clear pot. I hope I don't have to go up in size. She's got some kind of mold on her root system. I don't know what that is. It doesn't look like that slime mold, but maybe it is. I just watered her, so the soil is very wet. I'm just loosening a little just to see if I can fit her in this pot a little bit better to get rid of some of that slime mold. Okay, I think that's good. We are gonna try and squeeze her down in here. I'm gonna see if she fits. I think we can do it, guys. I think we can do it. This pot is so full. Is she fitting? Is she fitting? Everybody's a little squished in here, but you know, tuck those roots back down. I think we can make it work, you guys. We are just gonna have one full Exotica. Oh my goodness, I can't wait to show you her. All right, this is gonna take up all this soil, which means I'm out of soil. You know what I can do? I can make it a little bit more chunky because I have a little bit of chunky stuff left that maybe I can get through the other repot. I'm just gonna dump this all in here. Oh shoot. And it'll give me a little bit more soil to work with. All right, we are gonna fill. I know it's really hard for you guys to see. I think this is why I've been putting this video off, because I've been like, I knew it was gonna be a lot of work. I still have one more to do, but I don't think that one's gonna be as bad. Maybe. You're gonna do a full scoop. That's just the soil squishing, it's not like the roots. So if you hear that. Wow, you guys, wow. Okay, this piece sticking up with that sticker looks stupid. We'll just propagate that one. Okay, I think we're good. I'm hoping that will be enough for the last one. So the short side here in the back is all the cuttings right here. It is like chaos in here, and Chai is just like right at my feet the whole time, just trying to sleep and chill. Oh my goodness. I shouldn't have watered over my table. Look at her, you guys. Holy moly. She is a beast. Wow. I don't even know what to say. A literal beast. Oh, look at this. I'll definitely have to post a picture of her now because she's full. And I cut 2 long strands off that I'll just prop in probably the leftover fluval. She's huge. Okay, she's heavy. I'm gonna put her down and get this little area wiped down, and then we have one more, you guys. One more, and we'll be finished. And I just have to clean this mess up. Okay, you guys, I'm feeling it. I am like, ooh. Last one is my Argyraeus, and this is the one that I've had the most trouble keeping watered because it's in a clear pot with a lot of drain holes. So I tend to water it when the leaves start to curl. That is my signal to water this plant. I do get some yellowing occasionally, dry leaves just from older leaves dying off, some underwatering. So I'm actually going to put this one in the pot that Exotica was in. I feel like it's probably an 8-inch as well. So this one is really long. You can see she's extremely long. So these are all the cuttings I was able to salvage that we propped. So for this, that is my mix. So I don't want to disturb this root system at all. I'm going to keep all that soil. This was a project, you guys. Oh, I don't know if I'm going to have enough. Need a little bit more soil. We're gonna try to make it work. Okay, I'm gonna undo her over this so that I can keep this soil. All right, we're just plopping her in just like that. We're gonna add them all together. I'm just not gonna worry about labeling these ones. I don't have enough labels anyway. These are all the props. We had a lot of them. Okay. We're going to stick all the props together down here on this end. So we're just going to fill, and we're going to hope we have enough soil to fill this up. gosh, I wish you guys could see the mess in here. Oh, it's bad. I wish I didn't pack the other ones down so much, so I just had like a little bit more soil. But I think it'll be fine. As long as I get the roots covered, it's just gonna sit a little bit lower in the pot. I think it'll be okay. I definitely need like a few more scoops. It's gonna have to do. Oh goodness gracious. She swooped to one side because of the way she's on my plant shelf. I think this is a messier project than my moss pole micans that I did and took apart back there. Oh my gosh. I wish you guys could see the floor and the mess behind me. Okay, she is done. Shoot. Okay, I am done repotting for the week. I am completely out of soil. I just have a little bit left in my garage, but I do not feel like going out there and trying to rummage through the bins and trying to make more. I think next time I make some, I'll just make sure I add a few scoops on top. It'll be fine. And this one actually is the Silvery and, no, the Silvery and as well, because I did my Silver Lady already, because I combined the two. So there's some leaves that are Silver Lady. Okay, so she is my long trailing one. We added some cuttings in the back. Okay, so I wanted to share with you before we kind of end this and I get Fluval stuff all over me. So this is everything that didn't root. So we have one Exotica that was in perlite, and we had a few others that just rotted in perlite. Perlite had the most stem rot. Every cutting I was taking out of perlite was rotting, and like the stem, I had to cut it off. So out of the bunch, I feel like that's pretty good odds of, you know, not rooting, and I feel like 3 of these were in perlite alone, and some just didn't take and root, which is totally fine. Some take longer than others, especially Scindapsus. I feel like Scindapsus sometimes can take a while to root, so that is not bad, I would say, because I took a lot of cuttings. If you go back and watch, I'll make sure to link my other 2 videos in the series, but if you go back and watched when I first took the cuttings, I took a ton of cuttings. I will do the outro as like the overall view of the plants, and that'll be it for this video. So thank you guys for watching, and until next time.